Hi, I'm Bob Larson. Many of you know me as the Real Exorcist, but tonight I'm not going to be exorcising a person. I want to exorcise America. America is demonized, and we're going to talk about the first 2024 presidential debate that's going to be taking place tomorrow night. I hope that everybody is ready for this. I'm ready for it. And we're going to take chats about it. What do you think about Biden? What do you think about Trump? What do you think about the debate? And what would you like to see? And what don't you want to see? And remember, always like and share so other people can take advantage of this. And subscribe and hit that notification bell, will you? So you always know what's going to be going on and when it's going to be going on. We're taking chats tonight. I'm interested to know what you think about the political process and where it's at right now. And please remember, everything that we do is supported by your gifts as you watch and support us. You can always text the word GIVE to 833-361-4711 or go to boblarson.org and click on donate and support this ministry. So tomorrow night is the big night. Thursday, June 27th, CNN in Atlanta. Remember when CNN used to be a real news channel? Something was going on in the world. Wherever I was, in all of my travels, I looked for CNN. Then it became politicized and just a polemic and excuse for attacking Christians and Christian values. And then, of course, it just completely morphed into something that it never was intended to be. Ted Turner could not have imagined this. Yeah, I've done a lot of shows on CNN. Anderson Cooper, some of the top political correspondents, and many, going back to Larry King. But it was a real news channel, but it's not. And if anybody thinks those two moderators tomorrow night are going to be fair and honest, think again. So be sure to be watching 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Now, as a person of faith, as a Christian, what are you looking for tomorrow night? Beyond politics, what about the moral issues? So I got a hit list of things the Christians should be concerned about. We're taking your chats to what's on your mind and what you want to hear from Biden and Trump. Are you ready for that? If you haven't joined Ex Dunamis, you should, and I want to give you 50 seconds right now to see why you need to join. Oh, I got a few chats out there to get to right away. Let's take a look at them. Angela says, so Trump has to say what they tell him to say. Goofy debate with Biden. I don't think it's going to be goofy. I think it's going to be surreal. But as far as anybody telling Trump what to say, are you kidding me? I'm sure he'll take a little bit of advice. But you know how unhinged he can be, gloriously unhinged, and not anybody pulling his chain and telling him from the deep state what to do. Idra, let's be praying for Pastor Bob and his staff for tonight. Wendy, God bless you, Bob. And Wendy says, hello from South Florida. Andrea said, hello, everybody. God bless, and God bless the USA. Christine says, hi from Oregon. Tanya, blessings. Reminds me of the old talkback days. Well, yes, I did do a lot of political topics back then. And, we've had different emphases from time to time. Angela, I'd like to hear that he is leaving office. I guess you're talking about Biden. What am I looking for in tomorrow's night debate? I don't know. Well, that's why you're watching tonight, because I'm going to tell you what to be looking for. Dane says, hey, Bob, I signed up for Ex Dunamis. It's a great blessing. Blessings from Sydney. You know, this is a new month coming up, and we've got some brand new videos every month. We have hundreds up there, but we just keep adding more and more and more. And be sure to subscribe if you have not subscribed. Andrea, opinion on the political process. There's a lot of DARVO, deny, accuse, reverse, victim, and offender going on. Generally, if one flips the accusations lodged at the other party, hypocrisy is there. Angela, I like to hear him say he's leaving. Listen, he doesn't even know how to leave the stage. I mean, he was right there at Normandy where they were, honoring that great invasion. And did you see the video? And no, it wasn't a deep fake video. He just goes wandering off. And this woman who's the head of the government of Italy now had to grab our president and pull him back over with the group. The guy was lost. He was in another world. Who knows where he was? Bruce, Mr. Biden, why do we have an open border? I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So tomorrow night's going to last 90 minutes, starting at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. They're going to square off in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to go on for 90 minutes. They're going to have a couple of commercial breaks, and they're going to shut the mics off when the other speaker is speaking. This is ridiculous. Nobody's ever done that. This is for Biden's sake, because they have to shut down Trump, because he's going to call him. But no, he can't now because he can't say anything. Maybe he's going to yell from one podium to the other. But this is a crucial debate. If one candidate messes it up, it could be all over. The next debate is not going to be for another 11 weeks later. So if one of the two candidates falters, it's going to be really hard to catch up. And they both have a reputation for being a bit unhinged at times. No question. Trump speaks his mind. And Biden is known for having a temper and anger when he's enraged. Some say Biden's going to win if he just stays awake and he doesn't get lost on the stage. Others say Trump will win as long as he looks presidential and doesn't try to get too nasty. And he's going to have to avoid exaggerating the issues, and Biden will have to keep his cool and try not riling Trump, although I think he would like to do that. Most people are going to be watching, though, for topics like jobs, immigration, taxes, inflation, Ukraine, Gaza. So what should Christians be looking for? And what questions concern you if you are a follower of Christ? And there's a lot of things that's way beyond the CNN agenda that they're not going to bring up, and you should be interested in. Abortion, put that at the top of your list. Trans rights for minors. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The illegal immigration of criminals and the murdering of young children. We all know what's happened with this precious young girl who was abducted and raped multiple times under a bridge and then, tied up and thrown in the river. I'm sure Venezuela was very happy to get rid of those guys. These are some of the things we need to be concerned about. I heard a report this morning that the Border Patrol is admitting to, this is just what they're admitting to, having identified 300 ISIS individuals that they detained. ISIS! Trump eradicated ISIS. Now they're coming back over the border. And of course, the IVF, vitro fertilization controversy, the moral collapse of decency, the support of the nation of Israel, speaking truth about what's going on in Palestine and Gaza today. The infiltration of Hamas and Hezbollah on college campuses. And the idol worship of Taylor Swift. No, I just thought I'd throw it in just to get your attention. But there are a lot of other issues that Christians should be concerned about when public policy intersects with faith. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But give me just a second here to get to a couple of more chats out there. Daniel shares a gift of $15. Thank you, Daniel. Peace and blessings, Reverend Bob. Love you and your family. Do you think there will be a civil war? There's a lot of talk about that. Now, let me just tell you, I'm not going to be giving you some nutty prophetic word about what's going to happen and who's going to win and all that sort of thing. I'll let the rest of the guys out there who don't know anything really much about politics do that and just wade off into that deep water. But I will say to you, and I've been around a lot longer than most of the influencers out there that think they have a valid opinion about what's going on today. I've been able to see this from the perspective of a couple of generations, and I'm going to tell you, I've never seen a time like this. I've never seen a time in which I actually thought there was the possibility of organized violence in America. And let's just throw this whole September the 16th thing, the 6th out the window, because if January the 6th, if something's going to happen, it's going to come from the left, not the right. That's where it's going to come from. It is a very dangerous time. And depending on what direction this goes and how it gets there between now and November, yes, I think there is the possibility of there being, I lived through Kent State. I was there when it happened, for those of you who can remember. And I remember the riots of Detroit and the riots of L.A. Yes, I remember the Democratic Convention in Chicago and the riots and the demonstrations that took place there. So we have got up to the edge several times in America, but this is a time we could step over the edge. It's possible. Daniel, anyway, that's my thought on Mr. Biden. Why do we have an open border? Now we're going to get to that. Wendy, I want to hear them both say Jesus is king. Do not hold your breath very long, please. Brian, honestly, we're dealing with a debate between a criminal and an old man, and then there is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Wait a minute. Convicted felon, okay? A criminal. All right? Really? He's a criminal. You want to just dissect that for a little bit? Okay? So let's talk about this whole thing about the trial, the verdict, and everything that took place there. I have some thoughts on that. First of all, we have the waging of lawfare in America right now. All right? And there's a legal crusade that has been launched against Donald Trump that is threatening to our democracy. Now, those charges about Stormy Daniels, I think that's what you're referring to, sir. It was labeling payments as legal fees that constituted a crime. That's all. And that's a misdemeanor in New York. And the statute of limitations ran out in 2019. So he was charged and found guilty with something for which there never should have been a trial. And this business about influence in election, wait a minute, the payments to that Trump liar Cohen were unlawfully categorized as legal fees before the 2016 election. And this Soros-funded Bragg attorney, he vowed to go after Trump. It was part of his election platform. And the judge, how many of you out there know, the judge contributed to the Biden campaign in 2020. And there are rules in the state of New York prohibiting a judge from making a campaign contribution. How about that? I could go on. I have a lot more thoughts. Jeff says, I don't like how they will be muted in between their turns. I agree with you. Angela, excited about tomorrow's debate. Jeremy, I bet both are going to bring up felonies. Of course they are. Jeff, but they're not going to lay down just because Trump wins. Yeah, that's the worry. We in Australia are suffering with a mostly woke deep state government too, but if it helps a lot to have a body of water as a border around our country, that's very true, sir. Jeff, Christians must make a stand no matter what. Yeah. Joe, sounds like Trump should have been able to afford a better lawyer. I don't know why he ever picked Cohen. The guy was a liar. He was a weasel. But he did, and he got himself in a lot of trouble as a result of it. One of the big issues, and there's a whole bunch of issues that I think that we should be thinking about. And I gave you a whole list of them a while ago, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this. And that is the news that just came out this week about what's going on in the trans movement. Now, how many of you know who Rachel Levine is? Can we put a picture of Rachel up on the screen there for you to see our darling Rachel? Now Rachel is the Health and Human Services Assistant Secretary. Admiral Rachel. And Rachel, of course, was born a man with genitalia, thereby designating the biology of the identity that God gave her. But along the way, she changed that. Well, okay. That's her business to a certain extent. But here is the problem. Here's the problem with that. If you know what's going on, just let me educate you a little bit. Do you know what Biden just did? And if you're talking about issues we should be talking about tomorrow night, the trans issue is at the top of the list, okay? So the Biden administration has just given orders removing all age, and I'm reading to you from news reports. I'm not pulling this off of some extreme conservative or conspiratorial website, all right? They've just removed all age limitations to when children can begin to transition to genders. And I'm going to read from the news report. Biden's point person on transgender issues urged the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, the WPATH. Did you even know there was such an organization? I didn't. That organization has been lobbying to drop age requirements for gender-affirming care, as it's called, which means that a child can do with their body what they wish, and no one can stop them from it if that's what they want. Now, all restrictions have been lifted. Now, there's going to be a case before the Supreme Court after the first of the year, and if Biden gets in and somebody retires or dies, that's going to be an whole other issue. But here's the thing. Before the Supreme Court gets to it, Biden is already, you don't hear him talking about this, do you? Biden has already ruled and put in motion no restrictions on age for any transgender surgery. Now, there was a previous draft of this resolution and that was bad. Age 14 for hormone treatments, 15 for a mastectomy. A 15-year-old young woman can get a mastectomy, and the parents can't stop it. 16 for breast augmentation, that's for men, that's for Rachel. And facial surgeries is 17 for genital surgeries and hysterectomies. They're not even adults yet, and they can make that decision. Now, no age restrictions. And the World Professional Association for Transgender Health says so, and so does Rachel. Let's look at Rachel again. Come on, put Rachel back up there. I want you to see who's behind all of this. All right, where's Rachel? I don't see Rachel. Did Rachel disappear? Maybe Rachel resigned. Maybe she's not holding this position anymore. We'll try to get Rachel back up for you. All age requirements, all restrictions. And who was behind this? Rachel. The original draft of this august organization that I referred to a moment ago left in certain barriers of age requirements. Rachel came behind the scenes, and there are published reports on this, the New York Times. I was reading from the UK Telegram, went behind the scenes and asked that all age restrictions be removed. Are you kidding me? You're going to castrate a 5-year-old boy because he likes to wear dresses? And if he wants it, he gets it? This is crazy. How much more insane can our country get? All right, got a couple of chats out there. In your opinion, Bob, what is the strong man over the nation of the United States? Jezebel. All demons are male, by the way. Jezebel. It's the number one demon that I run into. Yes, Preacher Brian. God is not the author of confusion, 1 Corinthians 14:33. So that's just the transgender issue. There's a lot of other things we should be talking about. How about this college debt forgiveness giveaway? Did you hear about the guy who's employed by the Biden administration? Our taxpayers are paying him $90,000 a year, and he got his college debt forgiven. And he's on the internet bragging about it, out getting drunk in the nightclubs and traveling all over the place and bragging about the fact that this is why we have elections, so debts can be forgiven. It's buying votes. That's what it is, and everybody knows it. And every single hardworking American who helped to put a child through college, we did, and didn't get anything forgiven for it, and especially those of you out there who maybe couldn't afford to go to college because you didn't want to take on that debt. Now you look like a dummy because the people who did take on the debt had it forgiven. Guess who they're going to vote for? Huh? All right. And then the immigrant issue. I'll just tell you my opinion. All right? I think this whole migrant thing has been deliberately generated as a means of destabilizing the electorate. The whole purpose has been to create a voting class of people that will shift the political consensus in favor of those who have allowed illegals into the country. And that's why these lawbreakers are being enfranchised almost immediately with free health care, luxurious lodging, food, medical benefits, and educational opportunities. In California, you can go get a college degree as an illegal immigrant. You came over the border because you paid big money to a cartel to get you there. And now, guess what? You get a college education for free. We've created a special preferred class of people who have access to benefits that people who have grown up and worked hard in America don't have the benefit of. All right. In your opinion, I got that already. All right, Daniel, never thought I would hear that sentence spoken ever, let alone it being a real law in my nation. I'm not sure exactly what you were referring to there. We're going to take some more chats. But before that, you need to be educated about spiritual warfare. And honestly, there's so much drivel and trivia out there going on today, even in the deliverance world. Not everybody, but a lot of it is just almost nonsensical. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. You will not be embarrassed by Bob Larson University. Correct. It's deep. It challenges your mind, challenges your faith. It'll change your life. So in a moment, more chats. What you want to hear from Joe Biden and Donald Trump.